All right, guys, so I wanted to do a quick video review of today's price action and trade opportunities. There were actually a lot of opportunities today, some better than others, but regardless, the price action from today is such a good learning opportunity because of the variation of setups that we saw. So we're going to go from the top down here because, again, there's just a lot to kind of cover. So I want to start on the daily and zooming out here on the daily, there's a couple interesting things that we see. So price ultimately has been making lower highs and lower lows, and we did last Friday, which today's Tuesday, break down and close below this key level here, 59.20. So automatically, we were looking for continuation down. The question was down to where, and there were a few potential places that price may look to stop. One was this weekly key level I have down here at 57.99. You can call it 5800, but basically is these lows and these highs right here, which we almost came down to yesterday, but not quite, and then closed back up. The other thing that I noticed was if we draw a volume profile over this move up, and this caught my eye because of this consolidation here, we have this massive point of control sitting right here at about 58.44. So I did draw a dotted line across there. Might be difficult to see in the recorded version, but you know what, let me make that a little bit darker, and then hopefully you guys can see a little bit clearer, a black dotted line there. So that's that POC. So going into the open today, I was looking at the hourly chart, which is right here. And basically yesterday we bounced off of that area. Here's that POC across this area. We bounced up in the afternoon, started breaking out to new highs, which looked pretty good, and then kind of consolidated in the overnight with a little quick spike up above this previous hourly key level, and then rejected back down. And then pre-market we had news. So we had this candle here with wicks on both sides, right? Big sort of indecisive, crazy candle. But when I looked at this, of course, also that spike brought us very close to this daily key level, which again, it's not that precise, right? It got us kind of close enough. I think it was 1875 was the high there. And so what we had here was a test, failure, spike up, failure, retest again, kind of right before the open, failure, and then at the open coming up to test again. So if I'm going to counter trend, right, the hourly trend is still quite bullish. One of the things I like to see is I like to see a spike form. I like to see an attempt to break above that fails. And if I'm going to short, I want to short up high. I don't want to try to take a reversal like right here at a break, especially not the first break. You can see how this failed down here. And so looking at this is the 5-minute chart. I was basically looking for rejections up here. Now, I didn't actually catch this trade. It was kind of disappointing, but I'll show you how it played out. I called it out moments before it happened in the Discord group. And then basically I saw a price come in here, rejection, come up again, rejection. This was a nice engulfing candle here, this bearish engulfing. That would have been the entry to take. I didn't take it. I was kind of thinking this thing might come up and spike again. And I was looking for another failure after the open, like another attempt to kind of lure in some longs here and then fail before getting short. So I was hesitant to enter there. The other thing was I would have preferred it if it was a lower high, to kind of get an opportunity to get in on a lower high. And all said and done, even though the trade did work out really well, you can see here that on this candle, the candle right after the entry, price did spike back up and would have come very close to stopping out, like within a tick of stopping out. It basically was an equal high with the candle before the entry. So that was a decent trade. This isn't a setup that you'll see a lot as you see these larger 1-hour trends rolling over, where you see these spike and failures, and then often there's often 2 retests after a spike. So this was a decent opportunity to get short. It just didn't set up the way I liked, so I didn't take it. This one I liked even better. This one I did take. We had price come back down here, and this is what we call a V reversal. So some of the qualifications for V reversal is I like it to be a continuation play with the higher time frame trend. So hourly trend is still bullish at this point. Price spiked down below a key level and then came in with volume right at this low and started to push up with volume. So look at this first 2 bullish candles had significant volume. In fact, other than this candle, which was the rejection with the lower wick, but they had larger volume than any of these previous bearish candles. So that's the thing that immediately like right out of the gate, I start to go, okay, this could be a good V reversal setup. And I also want to see the candles have a decent amount of momentum, at least as much, if not more, than that last push down. Lastly, what I want to see is a consolidation that is higher than the previous consolidation before that last spike down. So we see that here. And I want that consolidation to have a drop in volume. You can see that right here. Okay, big drop in volume as that was consolidated. So the entry here was a break above the high of the consolidation, stop under the low, and to look for continuation. Now, I honestly was thinking this could come back up and test this previous resistance area. So I trailed my stop here, and then as it got close, I started trailing bar by bar. So I was taken out on this big push down, which is fine. It did ultimately, like if I would have just used a 2R target, it would have hit that target, which is fine. But that's not what I did. So I ended up trailing out for a little bit less than 2R, which is about 1.5. Still a decent little trade. It was a clean setup and took no heat on it. So I like that quite a bit. So really clean V reversal. That's what I like to see in my V reversals. And that was a nice little setup. So from there, these other setups, I was away from the charts. I had meetings this afternoon. But price spiked down and there were a few opportunities here. So we got below this key level and we closed below it on the 10 o'clock candle. So 10 o'clock closed down here. We did rally back up and then come back down again with another retest and now down below again. And now another clean retest underneath here. Now this personally is not a trade that I'm really interested in taking, only because we had these sort of lows forming support here. That being said, we're under a major key level, forming an intraday key level, and then this candle here, this is 1057. So this 11 o'clock candle is about to close, and we get this nice little push down with a close below here, where previously we kept rejecting. So that, if I'm going to take a breakout trade, that's the way to do it right there. So that would have been a clean trade. Usually for me, breakouts, I do just go for a 2R because I don't always trust breakout trades. And so I wasn't really trying to grab that. I would not have been trying to grab that down to the next key level, but that is a pretty clean, what we call a break of the low setup to just take it on a breakout. So not too bad there. I do like that setup there. Then we had this nice little consolidation. This isn't really a trade that I take, but you know, certainly was clean. You have this counter trend line right there. And then when we got the breakout of that, nice close near the low of the candles with a little high to put your stop up against. And again, I would have just taken that for 2R multiple if I was going to take that trade. Another quick setup there. Now, these next setups are more ones that I really, really like. Again, I was just wrapping up a meeting, so I was sort of watching these occur out of the corner of my eye, but could not take advantage of them. So the first one is down here, right? This is that black dotted line. That's that big high volume node from the daily, as well as this whole zone down here, which is a hourly key level. Just as a reminder of what that hourly chart looked like, it was this. So that key level was from yesterday where we came down, popped up in the pre-market, sold off, retested, sold off, pushed back up. I had that hourly key level drawn right across there, a little bit above where that high volume node was. So we had the high volume node as well as support and resistance confluence, which is really like beautiful. That's when you see that, like definitely those are things you want to take advantage of. So when we zoom in, when we look at this on a 5-minute chart, what we see is we got this little bit of resistance here that we pushed down into that area, came up, broke that structure a little bit, then came back down, forming a double bottom. If I'm going to take a double bottom, I love it when it breaks a little bit of structure first, and these 3 wicks across here are enough structure for me. If we look at this on the 1-minute chart, we can see how that occurred. Push up here, then come right back down. You could have honestly shorted this as it broke back down as this sort of failed break of structure here. Could have also shorted right here on that retest, that would have been a valid trade as well. You know, again, not the entry that I was looking for, but you also had this double bottom right here that you could have taken up to VWAP or however you want to target that. The next thing we have is what we call a range breakout. If anybody's familiar with Wyckoff and those kinds of structures, this is really an accumulation structure. This was your spring, then we came up, we leapt over the whatever the hell they call it, and then we get this nice little clean retest. And what is the signal for this for me is I want this structure to be visible on a higher time frame. So here the 5-minute. And here's the giveaway on this is this level before, wick, 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 wick. We've not been able to close above this area around these 58.56s. And then when we get that close above on this higher time frame, that's where you go, all right, we closed above. That's different than what has happened over these last chunk of candles, right? Over the last hour or so. This is a change of behavior. We're now holding above this area. Then we come down to the lower time frame, look for that retest. And it was right here. So we get this nice break and retest. There are a few different ways you can enter on this. I prefer if I just get like a clean engulfing candle. Didn't really get a clean entry like that. It would have had to be something like this. It's also perfectly acceptable to just wait for a break of that high again and get in as we break that high. That's also an acceptable entry. And then again, reasonable target would be to VWAP or at least to these highs here, which would give you, at least a 2R multiple to take it to those highs. Lastly, whenever we get a clean range breakout like this, where we had an accumulation structure, these often lead to big moves, which means that once this continues to push up, right, holding above these highs right here, right, we know that this breakout is actually holding. Very often get a momentum entry after that. And so for me, the momentum entry is right here. We had this strong push up, consolidation, and then the break of those highs is where you get long. Now, honestly, you could have gotten wicked out here very easily. Could have taken a first entry there and taken a stop, which is no big deal. It's part of trading. But when it happened again, you can take that entry there. And again, nice clean 2R multiple up to VWAP. If you want to try and take that up to the next key level, you certainly can. So again, just lots of setups and trade opportunities on a day like this. And it's so important to study all these setups because you can see we had a bounce play for a reversal. We had a break of the low. This I don't really know what to call because it's not something I normally trade. I just sort of threw it out there. We have a double bottom, we have a range breakout, and we have a momentum play. So especially when you're just trading one instrument, having a good, diverse playbook of ways to get involved is extremely helpful. And today offered several textbook versions of these types of trades. In fact, I just want to show you really quickly this situation right here. This is a entry from my journal from back in December where I was talking about these. Notice H1 trend is up. Here's your spike. Usually I like to get that second spike and then your retest. And in my notes, you can't see all my notes here, but the whole idea of this was this is a reversal of the higher time frame trend, taking it at this resistance after failed breaks of the resistance. When I did my playbook entries for today, when I did my screenshots, I actually added an image from that notebook entry there as well because this is just a textbook version of that. But taking the time to write those things down, when I saw this morning, I actually grabbed that notebook, that handwritten notebook, flipped to that page because I remembered it, and I was like, okay, what was I thinking when I drew that picture? What was my description of this setup and where and how I want to enter the trade? And so that just helps me to really be prepared. That's the power of journaling and keeping notes. And being able to go back and look at screenshots. And now I have screenshots of this. I have screenshots of all of these setups as well in here. I don't know why I erased the V reversal, but I have a screenshot of that one as well. Lots of different opportunities today. Lots to learn from on a day like today. Honestly, the morning was a little tough. These first two setups for me, like neither of them were really that great because the R multiple was just really difficult. That's where, like for me, by the time this came up and made this micro double top, I would have been much more comfortable entering on a candle like this. But the R multiple, I would have wanted to get out by this. That's only a 1.5 R. It's just not something I'm willing to take that risk on a reversal counter trend trade like that. So those were trickier entries. This one was a clean entry. This entry was easy for me to take, but it obviously didn't go to my full target, so it wasn't like that great of a trade. But I think I played it well. The rest of these were just super clean, super clean entries, especially what happened down here at this 44 level, which was a level that I called out in my pre-market notes on Discord as a level to watch. And the reaction off of it was just textbook double bottom, textbook range breakout, textbook momentum play. Even though the first entry, if you took it early here, would have gotten stopped, that's okay. It still was pretty textbook. A 2-minute chart's a little bit cleaner to look at it on, but either way, these were all nice plays, all easy ways to get involved with the market today. You can see price did come down again into this zone and shabam, back up. So lots of buying pressure down here. This will continue to be an area to watch. I'm going to keep my eyes on it. Hope you all had a good trading day. That's what I got for today, and I will catch you guys in the next video. I'm Tyler, the guy behind these videos. I've been trading since 2018, and like many of you, I'm still learning and improving my performance. Outside of trading, my career has spanned over 15 years and received international recognition in the fields of behavior modification, education, and performance coaching. I've always found that teaching others helps me to accelerate my own learning. And that's why I've started this channel, as well as my trading community and education services. I don't claim to be a master trader, but I am very confident in my skills as a teacher and coach. If you found my videos helpful, and if you'd like to work with me more closely, you can find links in the video description.